I don't know about you, but I like to grow a garden. In fact, my hobbies include woodworking and hunting and fishing and gardening and amongst other things, backpacking, etc. We we grow a big garden by most people's standards. It's not a farmer-sized garden. It's not a garden that we could then take extra produce to market and make money off of it or anything. But we grow a garden that's probably around 30 feet by 30 feet. And we do a four square garden technique where we're able to have each bed manually created by shovel, hoe, rake, etc. I put compost in it, but I'm able to reach into each bed, the center of each bed, so that enables me to just do seed spacing instead of plant spacing. So I'm able to have about a 25% higher yield than a row based garden. Now, if I had a tiller, I'd probably do a row based garden because I could do it with a lot less work. The reason I'm on this though is that I grow quite a few tomato plants amongst other things. I mean, we grow what I call a stew garden. Everything needed for a stew, I grow in the garden except that which I shoot in the woods. And so the stew garden gives us the capacity to have the herbs and the root vegetables, etc., that we need. We plant about 36 tomato plants a year. We've started paring that down as my two older kids have gotten married and left the house. But we have grown a lot of tomatoes. And it is a lot of fun to put those tomato plants in the ground. It's very exciting. It's hope filled. You have a lot of energy about it. You dig the hole and you plant those things deep down so that there's plenty of rooting capacity. But it's fairly easy to plant a tomato plant. But those things get out of hand if you're not careful. If you don't manage those things, they get over 6 feet tall. At least ours do. And they get to be quite bush like. Now, the way I plant them is when we plant them in the ground, I also have a big tomato cage that goes over it, goes up about 4 feet in height, supports it, gives it plenty of strength. But if you don't go through and prune your tomato plants and tie them up to cages, those things are going to collapse under their own weight. They're going to grow on the ground, and you're going to lose a lot of your tomatoes to rot, to bugs, to insects, to broken vines, etc. And so that becomes an issue because it's fun to plant a tomato plant. It's not a whole lot of fun to maintain it. And that's the basic principle here. It's a lot more fun to plant a new plant than it is to maintain the one you already have. In many ways, this one's a partner with the slot machine leadership where you're just trying and hoping for something that's going to work, and so you just keep changing everything all the time and you're addicted to change. In some ways, there is no work free answer. And so it's fun and exciting to plant something new. But it's just tedium and work many times to take care of the thing you've already got. So, whether this be a system in your organization or whether this be discipling of an individual person, it's exciting to lead somebody to salvation, to get them baptized and get them started on their way. But it's a lot of work walking through life with them. That's a long time. But here's the issue: you don't ever get any fruit except excitement from planting a new plant. The only time you get fruit is when you take care of and maintain the plant that's already in the ground. If you want fruit, you got to have roots and you got to be willing to do the work. So before you go pulling up that plant you put in the ground because it hasn't given you any fruit, ask yourself this very simple question: have I put in the work over time to allow this to come to fruition? Because it's always more exciting to put a new plant in the ground than it is to have to tie up, prune, maintain, and actually care for the one you decided to plant months ago. The tomato plant problem. It's easier to start something new than it is to maintain that which is already growing.